Let's start rolling the video for everybody of Detroit. At first, it's some pretty scenes, but then it gets into the collapsed buildings, the ivy growing up. Every time I send Aaron Dykes and Rob Dew or Rob Jacobson or Jason Douglas or other camera guys out to different parts of the country to do interviews or to show the collapse of Detroit, the fall of Detroit, the TSA asks, what are these cameras? And they say they're cameras. Well, what are they for? Well, and they get in their face. And coming back out of Canada, they're going to be on the last 30 minutes of the show today, covering their police state adventures. They got held at the border until they could get a hold of us at the office, until we could dig out the original receipts for the two $5,500 cameras. They're not even that expensive of cameras. You know, they're decent high-def prosumer. A professional camera is like 20 grand. These are prosumer. And they said, you've stolen these, and we're going to basically arrest you. And they said, no, we crossed the border. We did interviews. We're back. And they said, you must see you're guilty until proven innocent. They said, you may have stolen these. Are you looking for somebody who stole something? And they said, no. And so they got a hold of us. We had to dig it out, fax it to them, and they still barely let them go. Then they were going through another airport, and they said they had big signs up saying, here are the body scanners for your safety. And they were putting them in the naked body scanners that record a 360 view of your naked body, genitalia, everything. And Rob Dew and Aaron said no. And they said no politely to their gods. And one of the gods, one of the new leaders of the planet, grabbed Aaron by the arm. A big guy started grabbing him, saying, you will go in there. And Aaron said, no, you're not going to show my naked body. And the guy said, oh, that's not what it does. Bull. They brag. It's a biometric scan of your whole body. It's like when you go to Disney World and they want you to face scan and thumbprint to get in. Say no. Or when the grocery store wants you to thumbprint to buy food. You got to say no to this, ladies and gentlemen. And in America, they think they're supposed to put their filthy hands on you when you say, look, you're not putting me in your Nazi machine. The collapsed buildings, the ivy growing up. You start getting into that. What was that like?
It's incredible. You're driving down blocks. You'll see beautiful houses with new paint jobs right next to burned down houses. Empty lots where there used to be, 100 houses on the block. Now there's one, maybe two, maybe three. You'll see that all over the place. They call them urban prairies now.
Yeah, that's the new word for it. And this guy was telling us how the neighborhood he used to live in, he used to be able to stick his hand out and touch his neighbor's house. And now you go through the neighborhood and it's one house, then empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, another house, then a burnout house, then empty lot, empty lot. They're just systematically tearing down Detroit, and you can see it coming up now.
You can pull up the USA Today article. Obama says demolish U.S. cities for environment. In fact, people don't believe it. Pull it up. Iron happened it. This one's out of London Telegraph. U.S. cities may have to be bulldozed in order to survive, and they go on to say it's for the environment. And so we're going to come back into that briefly. But then also, you had the experience of not being able to come back into the U.S. They said your cameras were stolen.
Yeah, they tried to basically set us up when we were entering Canada. Said, I can refuse you, or you can get ready to prove that you didn't smuggle those cameras in or buy them illegally in Canada or without proper authorization using the customs.
Mm-hmm. So they told you that when you were leaving?
Oh, yeah, they set us up for it. And indeed, they did ask when we came back.
Yeah.
And
we were entering.
So they said, prove you didn't steal the cameras in Canada, even though you were going into Canada. Right. Then they marked down your license plate, and they were waiting because it was fun to harass a slave.
That's right.
To teach you to learn to serve, boy.
But see, the problem is everybody knows you can only buy left-handed cameras in Canada.
You're joking, huh?
That's a joke. Yeah.
No, but seriously, what was that like?
This lady was implying that we were there. She was basically hinting that she could mess with us on any point she chooses.
Yeah.
Because it's an interrogation, and if they don't like your answers, then you got to answer more questions.
But we'll just stay there. Let's finish up with Detroit imploding, and then they weren't going to let you go. We had to send receipts, guilty until proven innocent. Meanwhile, illegals, criminals are everywhere, Madoff stealing everything. But they got to let you know because you are the milk cow. And they were slapping you upside the head going, look, Elsie, I own you. So this is the adventure you had in the land of the free, home of the brave, traveling wherever you want. You know, the Soviets always talked about how they wanted to move here, to be able to travel and fly and drive. Not anymore. Not after 9/11. Everything changed. Homeland Security. We get the Homeland Security documents. It's all for us. And now they're going around to all the businesses saying, spy on everybody, spy on your neighbors. Everyone's a gun owner. John Elway says, do you own gold? Do you have guns in your house? Call the police on your neighbor. That means they're a terrorist. We have the video. These are sick control freaks and their toadies. Finishing up, though, with Canada and then a little bit more on Detroit. Let's keep rolling those images of Detroit. You said she was saying if your papers aren't in order, continue.
She was preparing to set us up to pay their customs fee on the approximate value of the cameras unless we could prove exactly where and when we bought them, by serial number. We were told if we didn't...
Now, was this the U.S. or the Canadians?
This was the Canadians telling us we weren't going to get back into the U.S. unless we could prove we bought our cameras in the U.S. and not in Canada.
And before you left, they made the point about the camera.
Yeah, and then coming back into America, they checked our papers. They asked about the cameras. Did you buy them in Canada? No. He just inspected our car and opened up everything, but he believed our story.
Because his bosses carried out the attacks.
Yeah.
It's a global government. They all are for the same people.
Another interesting thing.
What did they say when the faxes came in? Did they deny those were real or anything?
Well, we got the faxes in between while we were in Canada, but the last time we came through Buffalo, they detained us and didn't believe our story and made us prove various things about our paperwork and our rental car.
Oh, he even asked us when we were coming back in, he goes, what were you doing in Buffalo?
Yeah,
Going
so
to
it's
see
all
the
in a
falls,
database,
you know?
of course.
Yeah, they had everything on, because we were the same, too, that went in through Buffalo last time, so they had that on record.
They don't want you moving. They admit that. Everybody locked down. Major towns in the U.S. don't even let you out during the day. In Arkansas and Oklahoma, they want to check you when you drive down the street, CNN. And CNN says that's good. You need to show your papers to walk in America.
It's just amazing that it's harder to get back into the country that you're a citizen of than it is to leave.
But listen, when we flew into Canada that time and they detained us for 16 hours, foreigners and illegals were just, if it was a foreigner, they just bowed to them. But if it was a North American, we were scum. And I watched American businessmen and Canadian businessmen being treated like crap.
Yeah, they want to know how to get their cut.
Well, Canadians are good people, but they have a scumbag government. And because the Canadians have been asleep at the switch, just like we have. Now, finish up with Detroit. I mean, what was this like?
I mean, you could see it looks like it's bombed out half the locations we went to. It just looks like a war zone. And this is right in downtown. They're doing this stuff everywhere.
Did you have a chance to go to Flint?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had about an hour to get into Flint, and we drove around there, and it looks just as bad.
And they bulldozed 1,100 homes there. They're planning to bulldoze 3,000 more.
Here they are, bulldozing.
We saw this bulldozer pulling up what used to be a perfectly good foundation. And this is deindustrialization. This is what the globalists wrote about. In Fall of the Republic, you cover all of this. Maurice Strong's quote. Here I have the Rockefellers, Dr. Richard Day of Planned Parenthood. We'll all be interconnected. And that's what they're doing. The Packard plant closed starting in the 60s. We were in there. And now they're finishing off the job with the current bailout.
And put that all in the file. I want this in the film because this one's really going to be about the deindustrialization and the eugenics.
Each part of the world will have a specialty and become interdependent. The U.S. will remain a center for agriculture, high-tech, communications, education, but heavy industry would be transported out. That's 1969, and it's happened now. And we know the bankers set up the crises.
And then we get the documents how they're going to take our kids. Did you see in England where their parents have to have a license to be in public with their kids because they may be a pedophile? Soon we won't be able to travel. So it was good to be able to get this video before we're not allowed to travel.